I'm Joe Duffy, one of the newest additions to Winners and Whiners, but hardly a newcomer to this industry. Started in 1986 as a score phone announcer for Dial Sports. Been a full-time professional handicapper since 1988, professional handicapper and gambler. On this report, I want to talk about week one weather. And not just week one weather, but how we as professional handicappers use that weather to our advantage. Please note, I'm already 13-7 on the year with football picks. This, of course, includes preseason football. I'm 1-0. My only bet in week 0 was on Nevada. That was quite the easy winner, but I have a massive weekend in store. 15 winners, and that number is subject to go up. At least 15 winners at Winners and Whiners for week one of college football. And why do I think all these years in the business, this is very likely to be my best year yet? Well, first of all, we continue to improve on AI. Our simulators are better than ever. Also, it's a long story. If you're an old timer like me, you might remember the old lock line on the score phones and the master lock line on the internet. Long story short, it's been integrated into Joe Duffy's picks, where I have outsourced picks, highest rated plays and the highest rated handicappers in their highest rated sports now exclusively part of Joe Duffy's picks. They will be called outsource picks. Get that and more at winnersandwhiners.com. Now, some weather reports for this weekend. Non-conference games in which the winds are low and the temperatures are high. The total of 58 or less goes over, repeat, over 194, 137, and 7. And I got to keep saying over because a majority of my systems usually favor the under, but this is definitely an over system. And I explained to it, why don't you go back on Winners and Whiners? I gave a free winner that had quite a few computer simulators appointed towards the over and was also backed by this system. So I got a really strong play using this system, I'm going to tell, but it applies several other times. And as I said, the reasoning is, when the ball goes down the field, all 11 defensive players are still in pursuit. The offensive linemen, their job is essentially done. Basically, the hot weather is going to wear out the defenses quicker than it is the offenses. Also, the lack of familiarity gives the offensive coordinators, because I said it's a non-conference game. When it's in non-conference, the lack of familiarity gives the offensive coordinators a chance to be a little bit more creative. They don't know all that much. And remember, it's the offensive that's really setting the tempo, not so much the defense. So our research has shown that for the most part, when teams are unfamiliar with each other, benefits the offenses a little bit more than the defenses. Now, which game does that system apply to? It actually refers to and applies to quite a few games this weekend. Of course, it is subject to change based on what the kickoff temperature is, but the games that, as of now, the current weather reports say this over system favors would be Clemson and Georgia, Wyoming, Arizona State, Boise State, Georgia Southern, Old Dominion, South Carolina, Miami of Florida and Florida, UTEP and Nebraska, Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt. So once again, all these games apply to this system, and make sure you check my free pick from earlier, because one of those has a bunch of our computer simulators and power ratings that strengthen that. Say it's an even stronger play. Now, wind speeds over 13 miles per hour go under at a 683, 501, and 14 rate. I think the logic there is fairly simple why it does. However, at press time, based on the weather conditions and the weather forecast that exists now, that does not apply to any games this week. But stay tuned. I'll be updating you on Winners and Whiners. No doubt that system is going to apply quite a few times before the year's out. And really, especially later we get into the season up in the Northeast, that the winds get even worse, etc. But again, make sure you visit Joe Duffy's picks at winnersandwhiners.com. We got advanced analytics, been winning for you since the 1980s. And for very specific reasons I've given you and others, this is very likely going to be my best football season in history, which means it'll be the best football season ever recorded by anybody, anywhere. Lock in long-term now at Winners and Whiners, Joe Duffy's picks.